Hello math nerds. Now it's time to take this and take a look at the student responses that you can do using GMath. So what I'm going to do is take this form that already has some short answers, and short answers are really what you need in able to be able to do this. When you do your multiple choice like down here, you can't do math type in them because students are just picking a letter. So I have my short answer up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my add-on. I'm going to go to GMath for Forms, and then I'm going to deploy GMath for Responses to this form. Now, what this does is it basically gives me a button that says Deploy, and I'm going to choose that. And then once I hit Deploy, I need to do two things. There's a thing down here that says Set Trigger on Form Submit, and what that does is in Sheets, you can create pictures of things, and so you can actually insert pictures into cells, and this basically sets up the formatting so that that happens. So you want to set the trigger, so I'm going to click on that. And then the second thing I need to do is there's a deployed URL right here, and I'm going to click on that, and then it's going to give me the URL that I need for my student responses. Now, what happens is it opens up that URL. You're going to want to take this URL and copy it, and then when you share this with your students, instead of sharing it the regular way that you would share forms, especially if you're in Google Classroom, you're not going to attach a form like you normally would. What you're going to do is you're going to share this link, and it's going to bring them to this special page where it not only shows the Google form over here on the left, but it also shows their GMath window, and this is where the students can do their own GMath stuff over here. So if you take a look, let's say that I want to answer this question right here. And so I'm working as a student, and I'm going to create the entry here, and it gives basically the same things that you can use as a teacher. It allows students to do it here as well. So if you have questions where you want the students to create a graph, they can do that, and they can submit a graph as their answer. They can create a statistical display. They can use the handwriting feature if they prefer using that to creating latex expressions. It also, if your students are going to do this, you need to do a little bit of latex training so that they know kind of how it works. They also have the ability to use speech to math, so you could do that a little bit as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer this question on square root. So as the student, I would come and I would be like, okay, I'm going to do my square root question. I don't need the end part, so I'm going to get rid of that. And the answer to this is, when I figure it out, I'm going to do a square root 14 in here, and I'm going to put a 30 in the front. Now, when I click this blue button, what it's going to do is if I scroll down a little bit, it's going to give me a text for my response. And that text is actually linked to an image that I had. So once I'm ready, and this image, by the way, will be the same as the preview window that you see right here. So I'm going to copy and paste that image. And then I can go through and I can do the rest of this as well. As the student, I'm going to clear my latex, and I'm just going to type a basic math expression here. I'm just going to say 3x minus 5. I suppose I don't need to have a math expression for this, but I might as well create one so that you can see it. If they are able to write it in without using the latex, if it is just a basic math expression, then they can enter it in here, and it'll just paste the words that they, or what they typed. Whereas if you do the latex preview, it will create an image that will go in there. So I'm going to create that, and it's going to create a new image that I can paste in this second one. And then let me just go through the rest of this. So I'm going to choose B for that, and A for this one, and then I'm going to submit this. And then it submits like any other form would. Now, I'm going to go back to the teacher point of view now, and I'm going to go back to my GMath form over here, and you'll notice that now I have one response. So I'm going to click on the responses, and to take a look at the responses, I'm going to go over to the Create Spreadsheet button, and I'm going to create a spreadsheet that I'm going to use for these responses. And so my responses are going to come, and they're going to show up in here. Okay. Now, one thing that is an issue, and it's an issue right now, and I don't know why it's an issue right now, and hopefully it'll get corrected at some point in time fairly soon, but the person who makes GMath is currently working on it with Google to try to figure it out, or something like that. I think that there's an issue with something that Google is doing, and then there's an issue with something that he's doing, so trying to make them work right. But what's happening is something fairly simple to correct, although difficult to correct on a large scale for a whole class. For some reason, there's an apostrophe at the beginning of each thing. If I get rid of that apostrophe, then the image shows up the way it's supposed to. So this might be something, if you're testing this, that's having an issue. And if that is having an issue right now, hopefully it's going to be corrected fairly shortly. I was told that you can attempt to, over here, when you go back to the main form, if you delete the form submit trigger and then set it a second time, that it might fix the problem. But hopefully the problem gets fixed soon enough so that when class actually starts, it won't be an issue. If it does get fixed, it will be pretty cool. And I just wanted to give you an idea of what it looked like. So hopefully this gives you some ideas for what you can use this for in class.